Let's talk about graphic design.
You're a voice actor. You're an entrepreneur. You're a VOPRENEUR. Welcome to the Everyday VOPRENEUR podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover.
You have a great website, right? Well, make sure you host it at some place that doesn't suck. Hey, it's Brad Newman, fellow VO Pro for 28 years and owner of UpperLevelHosting.com. People ask why us, and that's simple. We make it easy, respect your time, save you money, and just make all the magic happen. You don't need to know all the tech stuff when it comes to hosting your website. We got you. Ask around. Tens of thousands of client interactions later, and 6 years of amazing customer service, and not a single negative complaint, ever. UpperLevelHosting.com.
The VOPRENEUR podcast. Hey, it doesn't suck.
Not as funny as Conan. Not as cute as Seth Meyers. Not as smart as Colbert. But he's one of us, and that counts for something. Here's Mark Scott, the original Everyday VOPreneur.
Hello and welcome to the Everyday VOPRENEUR podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover. I'm Mark Scott, the original Everyday VOPRENEUR, and this week we continue on with the Tools series. What is the Tools series? I get asked all the time about the software, the apps, the services, the different things, the equipment that I'm using to run my voiceover business, and I thought, hey, that might make for an interesting series on the podcast. So I've been doing a bunch of episodes talking about things like the tools I use for time management, the tools I use for getting paid. Last week's episode was all about the tools I'm using in my studio. This week, I'm going to be talking specifically about the tools I use for graphic design. And actually, it's a rather fitting topic considering what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. This week's episode brought to you by Voiceover Marketing Playbook version 3.0, which is going to be out April 11th through the 20th, and that is what I've been working on. And redesigning that course has involved quite a good deal of graphic design, and so that's actually partly what inspired this episode. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Playbook. I'm fully revising the course for 2023. I can't yet tell you how much content's going to be there because I'm still in the process of putting it all together, but it's definitely not going to be any less than the previous version. So I would say there's going to be between 6 and 7 hours worth of content, all designed to teach you everything you need to know about marketing your voiceover business, just giving you actionable, practical advice. Here's what to do. Here's what to say. Here's how to do it. Here's where to look. All of that sort of stuff. Voiceover Marketing Playbook, a step-by-step, easy-to-follow marketing course that is designed to help you find your own leads, build your own client base, and become the consistently working voice actor that you want to be. Again, version 3.0 will be available April 11th through the 20th with details at voiceovermarketingplaybook.com. So, let's talk graphic design. First and foremost, I am not a graphic designer. And so rule number one of graphic design is knowing your limits and playing within it. And so the first tool that I would say I use for graphic design is outsourcing, because I know that there are things that I'm just not equipped to do. And here's the other thing. I know that there are things that I probably shouldn't be doing. What I mean by that is I need to be in the booth. I need to be recording. I need to be auditioning. I need to be sending marketing emails. I need to be taking care of my coaching clients. And so if I'm doing all of those things, that means I don't always have time to do things like graphic design. And so when I've got bigger projects on the go, when I'm working on PDFs and things like that, I outsource a lot of that stuff. And so for that, I use either Upwork.com or Freelancer.com. Both of those sites have proven very valuable to me in the past, where I can find a graphic designer, I can give them a basic idea of what I need to create, and then just say, have at it. And it's a beautiful thing because that frees me up to keep my time to do the things that only I can do. So don't be afraid to pass some of these things off. We don't need to do everything as much as we may want to do everything. So I am not afraid to outsource my graphic design. So Freelancer.com, Upwork.com have both worked for me in the past. And I'm also going to mention 99 Designs. When it came time to get the logo created for VOPRENEURS, some of you may remember going through this process with me a couple of years ago, I decided to go to 99 Designs and run a design contest. And I give full credit to 99 Designs for how incredibly easy it was to work through that process. I filled out a few questions. I put up some specs about what I was looking for, and then I open up the design contest and people just start submitting their ideas to me. And then I can go through revisions with those people and ultimately narrow it down to some finalists and then pick the winner. The winner designs the logo, provides me with all of the files I need. It really was an incredibly easy process. And what I particularly liked about it, because admittedly, I am not a graphic designer, I didn't really know what I wanted. I had a general idea of what I thought maybe I wanted, but I wasn't totally sure. And so by running that design contest on 99 Designs, I was able to see so many different takes on the specs that I had put out there. And it really helped me to get a better sense of, oh, wait a minute, this is more of what I'm looking for, or I like that, but I don't like this. So can we tweak that or whatever? And so it was a really helpful part of the process for me, just because I couldn't necessarily envision what the ultimate end logo was going to look like. So I was so grateful to have all of these different people submitting their designs, and really it ends up helping me in the design process. So if you are thinking about getting a logo created, I would absolutely 100% recommend 99 Designs. I had a great experience with them, with the VOPRENEUR logo. I am an affiliate for 99 Designs, so I just want to disclose that up front. But I became an affiliate because I was so impressed with the service and so impressed with the way that it worked, and obviously very happy with the end result of what I received as well. So if you are looking to get a logo designed, I would absolutely recommend 99 Designs, which is what I used for the logo that I had for VOPRENEUR. And I will put a link. It will be an affiliate link, but I'll put that in the show notes for the podcast in case you want to check that out. So those first two things kind of go together, but one is recognizing when it's time to give a project to somebody else because maybe you just don't have time for it or you don't have the expertise for it. Absolutely, you want to be able to have the bulk of your time to do the things that only you can do inside of the booth. And then the other thing is just recognizing that, hey, some projects, they're really important and they just need to have that professional touch, right? We're voice actors. We are service providers. We want people to use our professional voiceover services because we believe that we can do a better job than, whatever, Bob in accounting. No offense to Bob in accounting. Why wouldn't it be any different in the graphic design space? Why, if we think people should use professional voice actors, should we think that we can be professional graphic designers? I know I can't, and so there are times when I will hire those things out. Now, that being said, there is a part of me that probably wishes on some level that he was a graphic designer, and that is why I am deathly terrified and deeply in love with Canva Pro. If you know, you know. If you have used Canva in the past, you absolutely understand what I'm talking about. And if you haven't used Canva in the past, I don't know what you're waiting for. You should absolutely get on Canva. Canva makes it really easy for anybody to feel like they can be a graphic designer because there are 50 million graphic designs that you can choose from. You just kind of tweak out your text, tweak out your images, change out your logo, all of that sort of stuff. It makes it so incredibly easy. Now, I will say, one of the very first things that I did when I was using Canva was I upgraded to Canva Pro. I was getting so frustrated by going through their libraries, their design libraries, and every time I found a design that I really liked, or a font I really liked, or an image I really liked, or a graphic I really liked, it was always only available to Pro. And so it got to a point where it was just a waste of time for me to keep trying to find the ability to do it for free, finding the free options. And so for whatever it was, $150 a year or something like that, it's not expensive. Absolutely 100% worth it to upgrade to Canva Pro. And that has become a completely invaluable tool in my toolbox. So what are some of the things that I'm doing on Canva Pro? All of the graphics that I'm making for social media are getting done on Canva Pro. So the pictures, the graphics, all of that sort of stuff that you're seeing on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn, on the Facebook page, the VOPRENEUR page, on Twitter, all of that sort of stuff. All of those graphics are getting created in Canva. Graphics that I'm creating for the podcast are getting created for Canva, including the promotional graphics that I use for the podcast. All of the graphic design that has been done for Free Advice Friday, if you've watched the live stream, the backgrounds, the logos, all of those fun different things that pop up on the screen, all of that has been done in Canva. If you watch the 12 voiceover gifts of Christmas, all of the graphics and the visuals that were put together for the 12 voiceover gifts of Christmas live stream, those were all created in Canva. Some of the PDF resources that I've handed out as bonus options for Playbook, those have been designed in Canva. Let's see, what else have I done in Canva? Some of the presentations that I've created have been done in Canva. Some of the webinars that I've created, the visuals have been done in Canva. So there's really no shortage of what you can do in Canva. You can create images, obviously, for all the different social media. You can create video in Canva, which I've done. Actual video for like Instagram stories and reels and things of that nature, which I've done. You can create documents in Canva. You can create PDFs in Canva. You can create presentations like PowerPoints or keynotes. Like literally, if it is in the graphic design space, it can be created in Canva, and it can be created pretty easily, which is absolutely incredible. Normally, you would think with something like that it's going to be a complex process, but I find Canva to be very, very user-friendly, very intuitive. And so, big fan of Canva here. If you really want to just try to step up your social media game, the beautiful thing about it is that you don't have to be a graphic designer. There are so many incredible templates that you can choose from, and then you can use those as your inspiration. You can use those as your launching point for all of that graphic design and all of that content creation. It has massively upped my content creation game. Here's another thing I'll tell you about Canva. Sometimes when I don't know what I want to post on social media, I will spend 20 minutes just scrolling through the Canva library, and I will see a particular design or a particular template, and that will somehow just inspire me to, I'm going to use that, and here's what I'm going to say, and here's what the post is going to be about. It's crazy how that can work sometimes. So absolutely, I think that if you are doing anything on social media, or if you are doing anything in presentation, if you're creating presentations for your business, if you're trying to create resumes, if you're trying to create marketing content and collateral, all of that sort of stuff, I think Canva Pro, absolutely 100%, unquestionably worth the investment. So that is another huge one that I am using in my business. The next big one on top of that is the Envato Marketplace. Maybe you've heard of this. I've talked about it in the past, but in particular, I'm using graphicriver.net. Now, on the Envato Marketplace, there are a lot of different elements to it. Audio Jungle is part of the marketplace where you can get royalty-free music. Theme Forest is part of the marketplace where you can get templates for your website. So there's a bunch of different aspects to it, but the one in particular I want to talk about today, because this is about graphic design, is graphicriver.net. If you have ever taken one of my courses, Voiceover Marketing Playbook, Making Money with LinkedIn, 101 Ways to Find Voiceover Leads, Follow-Up Academy, any of the masterclasses that I have ever created, every single one of those masterclasses started with a template that was purchased from graphicriver.net. I was able to go in, I was able to find a template that I liked, and I was able to turn that template into the base or the foundation for all of the different courses that I've created. And one thing that I do get comments on all the time is how clean and nice and professional the courses that I create actually look. I have also used themes from graphicriver.net for my conference presentations. So if you've ever seen me speak at VO Atlanta or at WovoCon or at Mavo, you've seen slides that have been created with templates that I've purchased from graphicriver.net. So it is another incredible resource for things like keynote presentations or PowerPoint presentations if you're a Windows user. I used it to create my voiceover resume. So if any of you have ever seen the voiceover resume, I've done a podcast episode on that in the past. I actually found a template on graphicriver.net that I downloaded, and I used that as the foundation to create my voiceover resume. So in some senses, it's a little bit similar to Canva, but I have found that when it comes to presentations in particular, Canva seems to be a little bit more limited. And what I mean by that is you can find presentation templates on Canva, but they might only come with, 10 or 15 unique slides. Some of the presentation templates that I have purchased off of graphicriver.net come with 450 unique slides. And so when I'm creating something like Playbook, which involves hundreds and hundreds of slides, I obviously want a lot of different slides to choose from so the whole thing doesn't look exactly the same. So absolutely worth checking out the Envato Marketplace and graphicriver.net. And then, of course, if you're looking for website themes or audio or, other different elements, make sure that you check out the Envato Marketplace as a whole. The next two, these two go together, but they are both for stock photography. Now, I want to be very clear about stock photography. You have to still be careful about stock photography. You have to be very careful about royalty-free stock photography, because even with royalty-free stock photography, sometimes there are limits to the use for that royalty-free stock photography. So, for example, you may be able to download an image and use it royalty-free for personal use, but as soon as you download that image and use it for commercial purposes, that becomes a totally different type of usage, and so you may or may not have to pay for that usage. Very similar to what we're used to in the voiceover space, where maybe somebody purchases usage for non-broadcast, but then they decide that they want to use it for YouTube pre-roll, in which case there's an additional usage and an additional charge. So always be careful with stock photography. Make sure you are paying attention to what the usage is so that you don't find yourself getting yourself in trouble. But there are two sites in particular that I am a huge fan of. Actually, you know what? There's three that I use. Two that I use more than others, but there are three, so I'll mention all three of them. The first one is Pixabay. I love Pixabay. I discovered Pixabay a couple of years ago. It's Pixabay.com, Pixabay.com, and I'll put all of this in the show notes so you'll be able to look it up. It is a massive site that is filled with so many amazing pictures of just about anything that you could possibly think of. And so if you are trying to find images for any kind of content that you're creating, maybe social media content, things of that nature, chances are you're going to find it in Canva if you're using Canva. But if you're not using Canva, certainly you should be able to find some of the images that you're looking for in Pixabay. And that was the site that I used for years prior to switching to Canva. And it is a site that I still use today when I'm looking for royalty-free images for some of the other design stuff that I'm doing and some of the other marketing collateral that I'm creating. So Pixabay is the first one. StockSnap is the second one. It is stocksnap.io. And then the third one that I will mention is Unsplash. I don't use Unsplash as much now. It was one of the first ones that I discovered, but I found that it was very limited, particularly in comparison to Pixabay. I would say of the three, Pixabay is definitely the largest. It definitely gives you the most options to choose from. So those are three great sites that you're going to want to bookmark for royalty-free images if you are ever in the market for royalty-free images for anything. Now, what about if you need something that is not royalty-free? What if you are looking for something that is going to require a commercial use license? Then where do you go? Where can you find images that you can use for those purposes? I have purchased images in the past. Several times I've made purchases, and those are images that have been used for paid advertisements that I have run in the past. So, for example, the playbook image was an image that I purchased, and I have purchased images in the past for some of the ads that I've run on LinkedIn. And so because it's a commercial usage, I wanted to make sure that I had the right license. And so in those instances, I have turned to Shutterstock. Chances are you've seen Shutterstock come up in the past. I can say that it's probably more affordable than you think. Sometimes you may have to pay up a little bit extra depending on how much usage you want or what types of usage you want, but I have got images that I have been able to use for commercial purposes for under $100 in the past, and it's given me an ongoing license. And so, again, probably more affordable than you think, and absolutely, unquestionably, more affordable than finding yourself in a lawsuit. And if you think that you're not going to find yourself in a lawsuit, let me just say that you can find yourself in a lawsuit. I have found myself in that awkward and uncomfortable position in the past. What happened to me was I used an image that was royalty-free, but then somebody bought the rights to that image. They call these people copyright trolls. So this person bought the rights to that image and then, using reverse image search on Google, found all the different people that were using that image royalty-free on their websites, and then provided them with cease and desist and demand letters. And I ended up having to hire a lawyer, and I ended up having to make a settlement payment. It's in Canada, they call it a legal form of extortion. It's incredibly frustrating, but it can happen. And so that's why, especially if you're using something commercially, you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself. And so that's where I would say looking at purchasing a license for commercial usage for a picture from something like Shutterstock might be in your best interest. So there you go. Those are some of the different tools that I'm using for graphic design. And all of these tools have become absolutely invaluable to me and my business. So know when it's time to outsource. Know when it's time to pass a project off to somebody else. Many of the different PDF downloads that you've seen from me in the past, like if you've downloaded one of my ebooks or something like that, those are things that I have outsourced to a graphic designer because they would take me a really long time to create, and I don't always have a lot of time to create them. And so it makes more sense for me to pay someone else to do it so that I can spend my time doing the things that only I can do. I have successfully hired people for projects like that from Upwork.com and from Freelancer.com. Canva is going to become your new favorite website. If you've never played around with Canva before, let me just apologize to you up front, because you're going to go there and you are going to fall down a rabbit hole and you are going to lose days of your life, at least in the beginning. And so you're going to have to learn to set some time guards around your usage of Canva so you don't, spend your whole life there. But it's also going to change your life, I think, especially if you're into doing social media content and looking to create really clean professional graphics for all of your social media. Also a really great site for creating branding kits for if you've got a podcast or a vlog or a blog or something like that and you want to create templates and branding kits for everything to look the same. Canva Pro, 100%. Make the investment. Absolutely worth it. There will be a link to that in the show notes. The Envato Marketplace, graphicriver.net, absolutely invaluable for templates, all kinds of different templates, presentations, PDFs, ebooks, things of that nature. 100% recommend it. 99 Designs, if you want to get a logo created, 99 Designs is absolutely the place that I recommend for that. And I just want to be clear too, I did speak about 99 Designs specifically from a logo creation standpoint, but you can actually use 99 Designs for a lot more than just logo design. And so keep that in mind. If there are other graphic elements that you want to get created, 99 Designs can do a ton of other stuff. I just happen to use it for a logo. And I know that a lot of voice actors are looking to get logos created, particularly in the beginning, or maybe looking to get a logo improved or upgraded or whatever. 99 Designs can be a really valuable site. So again, I'll put a link to that in the show notes. That link will be an affiliate link, just full disclosure. And then if you're looking for stock photography, Pixabay, StockSnap, Unsplash, and if you are looking for premium or commercial license stock photography, then that's where you're going to be looking at Shutterstock. What are some of the sites and resources that you're using for graphic design? Is there something that I should be aware of? Is there an incredible place where I can look for templates or for photography or for graphic design inspiration? Because I'm always on the lookout and I would absolutely be open to hearing what you guys are using. So let me know. Tag me in your Instagram stories. Let me know you enjoyed the episode. Let me know if there's a place that I need to know about, a site that I need to be aware of so I can check it out too. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.
The Everyday VOpreneur Podcast. Available everywhere fine podcasts are given away for free. Mostly, we think.
Having your voiceover demos easily playable and downloadable on your website is essential. The VoiceAm player lets you do that across any device and browser. There are also options for adding play buttons in your email signature, tracking your listens, and even putting videos in your demo player. Sign up now at voicesam.com/MarkScott and receive an instant $25 credit. For full details and to claim this offer, visit voicesam.com/MarkScott.
And scene.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for hanging out. Want more VOpreneur goodness? Jump online at VOpreneur.com.